Good morning. Today's presentation is about air source heat pump water heaters. Particular attention is going to be paid to where the warm air comes from and where the cold air goes. Why heat pump water heaters? We have an interesting opportunity and a challenge. The benefits are high, greater efficiency than standard water heaters. They support our decarbonization and electrification goals, and there's growing adoption across residential and commercial markets. The challenge? Mismanagement of the cold exhaust air leads to condensation and mold risks. Poor installations lead to moisture damage, lost efficiency, and discomfort. We need to get installations right. Here's the big problem. Poor installations have consequences. There's unintended issues from poor heat pump water heater installations. Cold air impacts the surfaces, condensation and mold grows on the surface. Cold air is trapped in a room, condensation and mold inside the building cavities. Limited airflow reduces efficiency and leads to higher cost. Let's look at some case studies. First, garage installation failure in Richmond, Virginia. Resulted in mold growth. There was plenty of air exchange. The cold air impacted the water heater. The cold air impacted the air handler and the supply duct, causing mold to grow on the surfaces. Eventually, the equipment had to be removed. Lesson learned: plan the exhaust direction and airflow carefully. Here's the dilemma. Installation instructions say that the space volume is large enough. However, the same instructions do not address where the exhaust air is directed or the potential to create condensation on exposed surfaces. Here's another failure. Indoor closet, again in Virginia. It resulted in mold growth as well. Plenty of air exchange through the louver door in accordance with manufacturer's instructions. Cold air discharge impact the back wall. Humid air condensed on the back wall. The dehumidifier was added as part of the mold mitigation effort. Lesson learned: don't cool surfaces below the dew point. Again, the issue. Instructions say that the fully louvered door provides enough airflow and required minimum spacing between the back and the wall. However, the instructions do not address the high humidity and dew point of the incoming air. Interior room installations. This is showing you the basic physics. Limited access to new thermal resources, no intake and exhaust stays in a room. Under these conditions, the temperature inside the room drops to somewhere between 45 and 50 degrees. You now have a large temperature drop across the envelope of about 25 degrees whenever the heat pump is running, and the condensation of the air in the surrounding rooms, the dew point, is below 50 degrees. So when the temperature gets below 50 degrees, that surface of the wall gets below 50 degrees, condensation will occur in the interstitial spaces, hidden from view. The best case is that the enclosure is surrounded on all 6 sides by 70F or higher. We don't get that. It's very rarely the case. Rooms are wherever rooms go for water heaters. They're in all sorts of places. The temperature gradient. As the differential has the potential to create condensation on surfaces. As we said in the previous slide, this is just a close-up. Air conditions indoors, 70F, 50%. The dew point temperature is a bit over 50. Enclosure air conditions are down the order of 45. Right? Whenever the temperature of the wall inside the space is above 50 degrees, you're going to get condensation. Installation instructions do not address the potential for moisture to condense on the surfaces inside the walls, floors, or ceilings. And we have some recommended reading for all of our folks here, The Perfect Wall by Joseph Stiebrook. It's the fundamentals of building science. Now, garage installations. This is a Sacramento installation. It's a garage, plenty of airflow. You can see it right above the water heater in the left picture, but you'll notice condensation on the top surface of the duct, which is directing the air away from the ceiling. So the dew point for those 2 days, February 2nd and February 7th, is 56 and 44 degrees. Temperature is similar in both days, but we're seeing moisture condensing on the ductwork itself. Obviously, that can be fixed by insulating the ductwork, but the issue is that we're getting condensation on metal surfaces or any surface that's below the dew point. Here's a mechanical room in Los Angeles. It's a hotel. The room temperature is in the range of 40 to 50 Fahrenheit. And the condensation is shown on the cold air exhaust pipe, which, by the way, is not insulated. It needs to be to prevent condensation on the surface. Here's another example of an installation case that's pretty typical. This is an external closet. This is for a garden apartment complex building in Sacramento. And you can see it needs larger openings. The first time I visited the site, it didn't even have the louvers that you see on the center picture here. They were just using the existing ones for the gas water heater that was installed in the room. They opened it up to become what you see in the center picture. To improve the performance, they made a collar, very clever collar, around the airflow, the fans for the heat pump water heater, and blew them out through the louver. But notice that the louvers are still tightly close together. On the far right, you can see a picture that says they opened up the grill by putting in this very open wire mesh screening, which really improved the airflow. It's not perfect, but boy, is it way better from where it started. But remember that all the air that goes out also has to come in. So there has to be an equal amount of free area for the air to get into this enclosure. Gazintas have to match gazatas. So how do we get installations right? We have to manage the cold air, exhaust air, to protect health and safety and increase efficiency. That's the order of events we need to follow. First, we manage the cold air to prevent moisture issues. Never trap exhaust in cold spaces, enclosed spaces. Raise the cold exhaust air above the dew point temperature as quickly as possible, either by mixing or by ducting to safe location. Use R8 insulated and vapor sealed ducts. Why? That's how you make sure the energy goes where it belongs and you don't get condensation. We need to provide sufficient warm air. Conduction into the space with a heat pump water heater is not sufficient. Thermal resource is essential. It must be in the room or be brought into the room for use by the heat pump water heater. The thermal resource has to be equal to the air side heat rate of the heat pump water heater. Minimum airflow is on the order of 40 CFM per 100 watts of compressor power. Here's some examples of different unitary heat pump water heater intake and exhaust locations that are available in our market today. Top intake exhaust, top intake and side exhaust on the left, a similar but different pattern on the second one, the top intake rear exhaust in the center, top intake top exhaust on the second to the right, and then the side intake and top exhaust on the far right. Those are the configurations we have seen so far, and I think they cover the logical cases. So how can we install these logical cases into these different locations? Where do water heaters typically go? They go in basements if you've got one, garages if you don't, attics sometimes, mechanical rooms if you have them, closets if that's where the water heater was intended. There might be others, I'm not sure what they are offhand, but there's, please add to the list. The key is to ensure the safe discharge of the cold exhaust air in the most confined locations, while simultaneously providing the warm air intake. And this needs to be our focus. Protecting health and safety will lead to increased efficiency, and we want both. Closets are the most confined locations, so I'm going to look at 3 of them. First one, rear exhaust. Interior of the closet needs to be the largest because you still need side clearances for access, and you need front clearances because the code says so for access and service. But you need enough room at the back in order to make sure you can get the air out of the back of the water heater and up to a ducted location above the door. You can see on the left, we have a ducted exhaust, a curved blade register, and we have a larger than minimum size intake vent, which we're proposing to become a filter grill so we can actually put a 2-inch pleated filter inside that location. And if you've got a double door, which I think would make sense here because of the wideness of the opening, you'd put one on each door. They don't have to be any bigger than the size of the exhaust duct hole, but they need to be at least that big. And because you want to make sure that the air filter doesn't clog up too quickly, you want to make them larger than might otherwise seem necessary. Here's a side exhaust. Side exhaust allows the closet to get a bit smaller because I don't need as much space at the back. I still need access on the sides and the front, but I can reduce the access space at the back to about 3 inches. Why 3 inches? I still need the ability to undo screws in order to take the top housing off. We're going to have a single door opening, a single door, and a single grill, filter grill for the return, actually for the intake air. And here, this is a top exhaust where the interior of the closet is now the smallest, roughly 3 by 3, all top ports for plumbing, all top ports for air exhaust, and the single door with a large filter grill. The same exhaust opening has been used in all 3 cases, the same exhaust grill. That grill is directed in 3 different directions, both to either side of the opening from the door, and it's got the airflow curving up so that the air heads toward the ceiling, so any cold discharge air doesn't directly affect the people walking below it. It gets mixed with the room. That's the idea for all of this. So there's some low-risk strategies. For large areas with full access to warm air, discharge the cold air away from surfaces to mix thoroughly for the surrounding air before it becomes intake air. For small areas with limited access, duct cold discharge air out into the larger area to mix thoroughly before it becomes intake air. Bring the air intake back through the filter grill. Install oversized MERV 13 filters, either as part of a filter grill in the door or wall, or in a filter box that's ducted to the intake. It provides much better protection for the coils, and in practice, it has been found to require much less filter maintenance. Here's something we found when we were walking around the trade show recently from Zender America. They already make insulated and vapor-tight ducting for use with their air handling equipment, ERVs and HRVs. It's the right dimensions, 200 millimeters is 8 inches. It's pretty close to what we're interested in. And they have collars and conversions so that you can put it all together as tight ductwork. It's a great place for us to start for looking at how to properly duct these in an efficient, cost-effective manner. Key takeaways and some action items. Preventing moisture in surfaces is critical. You have to prevent the condensation on the surfaces. You have to prevent cold air buildup inside enclosures. You have to direct exhaust air to safe places. You must raise the temperature of the exhaust air above the dew point as quickly as possible. We have to prevent short circuiting of exhaust air into the air intake stream, and we have to ensure sufficient airflow and access to thermal resources. Our challenge is to get heat pump water heaters right. First for health and safety, and secondly for efficiency and comfort. So here's the problem, and here's the strategy. We sell approximately 10 million residential scale water heaters each year in the United States. Of that, about 1 million or 10% are in new construction, 90% or 9 million are in retrofit. We need to get ahead of the heat pump water installation ramp-up curve, particularly for retrofit installations. Why? Retrofit installations rarely have a permit pulled. So I have a 2-part strategy. Put the health and safety provisions into the model plumbing and mechanical codes. The building science is the same for all heat pump water heaters. And since heat pump water heaters are a special case, we need to call them out separately so that everyone knows what they're looking at. Whether they're the installer, the builder, the plumber, the owner, or the code inspector, it doesn't matter. We all need to know that they're special. We have to protect the health and safety of the building, and that's the responsibility of the codes, particularly the plumbing and mechanical codes here. Put pointers to these provisions in the other codes, the other building and energy codes. The code provisions will affect the installations where a permit is required. So part 2 is what to do for all the other installations. I think we need to create a common practice manual and an educational campaign. The manual has to address the building science that protects health and safety. We have to show how to install each configuration correctly in different locations where water heaters already go. Particular attention needs to be paid to the small closets. Develop a multimedia and multilingual educational campaign and outreach through all industry trade partners and organizations. So code chapters, engineering chapters, plumbing chapters, national organizations. We also have to go through the trade associations and the wholesalers so that everybody gets the same message. This is the science by which we're going to install heat pump water heaters to protect the health and safety of the building and the occupants, and by the way, get efficiency that we hope that we're claiming we can get. So what are the questions? what challenges have you had for heat pump water heater installations, and who would like to collaborate? Thank you for your time.